Please state your name and DOC number for the record.
My name is Clarence Dudley DOC number 329502.
This isn't a little there either, guys. I need Clarence Dudley. That's who that is. That's Clarence Dudley. All right, Clarence. My name is Brennan Kelsey. Along with me is Ms. Renata and Mr. Roche will be your panel. I'll explain the process to you, read some information to the record, have a parole interview, ask you some questions. You can respond. At the end, you can make a statement. We'll take a vote. Do you understand the process?
Yes, sir.
All right. Clarence Dudley, DOC number 329502, second class offender. Parole eligibility date 12/30/2021. Good time 3/5/2060. Full term 10/1/2070. 65-year sentence. Medicaid fraud, money laundering. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you answer Ms. Renata's questions, please? We also have Lorania Mouton who will be speaking at the appropriate time.
All right, Mr. Dudley, good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Mr. Dudley, this is a rehearing for you. You were last seen by a parole panel back in July. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were denied at that time. What was the reason? What's your recollection of the reason you were denied?
The reason is I recalled I was asked the question, did I consider myself a recovering addict? And I made the statement that I wasn't. I haven't used drugs in over 30 years. I don't even smoke a cigarette, and I don't keep track of my sobriety and years of freedom because I don't use. And I'm a minister of the gospel, and I teach people the best that I know how. My son died from drugs, that mojo. So that's more reasons that I've never went back to drugs.
Right. Well, my record indicates that you were denied. What it says was lack of programs and insufficient time served. So how much time have you served?
18 years.
You served 18 years of a 65-year sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
So since July of 2021, what programs have you been able to?
Well, Ms. Ranoski, before coming here, while at Angola, I completed all the programs in the pre-release program, money management, anger management, and things of that nature. And since coming here, when denied and asked about what I spoke to you about earlier, the drugs, I took living in balance in NAAA. I have a high school diploma. I have some college. Also, that's basically a lot of things that I did here besides being a mentor while at Angola and passing one of those fellowships there.
So since July of 21, you've taken living in balance.
And NAAA, because he mentioned about.
All right, I said that June 22, AA step study you finished in June.
Yes, ma'am.
When you had a jury trial, and as part of your sentencing was restitution ordered.
I believe so.
Do you know how much that restitution is that
No,
you
ma'am,
ordered?
I can't accurately tell you how much it was.
What I see is for counts 2 through 10, it was $5,744. Count 12 was $374,598. Do those numbers sound familiar?
I would say, according to what you're reading, basically that's what it is. I can't dispute that or say, otherwise. I don't have it top of my head.
Right. That. So your co-defendant in this case is your wife?
Yes, who's deceased.
Deceased now?
My wife died like a week after I went to Angola. 2 strokes and a heart attack after this.
I didn't hear that. So you mentioned that you're an ordained minister. What would be your transition plan?
Well, when I leave here, I'm going back into the ministry. My church family is waiting on me. Also, I'm gonna try to start a mentoring program within my fellowship and my ministry. And the ministers that's underneath me, have them work along with me.
Where's that gonna be at? Where you doing?
That's in New Iberia, but before I go to New Iberia, I'm transitioning. I plan to go to Hammond, where my mother's home at, and live with my brother. Till I get myself established.
So as you were made aware, I'm sure at your last hearing, there's significant early release. Significant opposition to early release.
Got significant opposition.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to know, what did you do with all that money?
What did I do with that money? I used that money paying off my employees, and basically I bought a home. And I started another business, and I basically had a lot of the money in the bank and whatever, and I helped a lot of people in the community and whatever.
Yeah, well, that money wasn't yours though, right?
No, ma'am.
All right. Warden, is there anything you can tell us about Mr. Dudley?
As you see, his conduct record is good. Clarence got a duty status, so he doesn't have a job here as such.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Would you answer Mr. Roche, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Warren Baker,
Yes, sir.
are there any more money management or financial courses that Mr. Dudley can take? Because he's already taking that small portion in the release program that touches on 8 or 10 subjects. Do you have a course, a good time program that involve the management of money and the financial assistance, because his major crime is financial, and he hadn't really taken any rehabilitative courses that can help him with that problem.
Good money management.
All right, we have job life skills that gets into some of that here at Rayburn. But outside of that, there's some classes that have a little section of that, but not a overall class for that.
Thank you, Warren.
So, Mr. Dudley, so basically you're a minister. You're having no medical background, correct?
No, I went to school to become the administrator of my company. I went through the process of it and learned the ins and outs of about how to facilitate the business that I was running. Took classes for about a month or so in Pineville, Alexandria.
Yeah, to be the administrator of a business that couldn't bill Medicaid, is that right?
I didn't bill Medicaid. I had an employee that I hired from Baton Rouge who did the medical billing for the Department of Health and Hospital itself.
Right. And you and your wife were seeing patients at the time? Was that how was that set up? Obviously, it was illegal.
I had doctors and nurses working at the facility. The doctors worked at their own place of business, where I transported the kids to those doctors that deal with hearing, eyes, and dental appointments. My nurses did the assessments and all of the other necessary things that needed to be done. I also had a nutritionist work at the program. I was simply the administrator, the overseer, really didn't know a lot of hands-on as to billing or so-and-so, because I had a director of nurses as well as a doctor that was a director over my business.
So in a sense, it was like some type of home health agency then.
It was a kid med program.
Okay.
We serviced children from the age of when they was a baby to about 21.
They wouldn't come to your facility, you source them out to doctors,
No, they came to the facility.
but they had to see the doctors at some point. You said you'd
The
send them.
the doctors know, I transported them when they had their appointment because I lived in a community where people didn't have transportation in a poor community, in a rural area.
That in New Iberia?
Yes, and these people lived in the projects and so on and so on. And they didn't have transportation, so I had vans at my church. And I used those vans to transport them to see the doctors to keep their appointments.
And so were you ever audited by Medicaid?
No,
So you just had charges sent to you and that was it?
sir, I didn't understand.
You were just charged with it. You did that Medicaid didn't come out and do an assessment and do on your place of business to know that you could do this at your church?
You mean to come like evaluate?
Yeah, that's right. Do the treatment,
yeah.
evaluate,
Yeah.
have a place.
Yeah.
I mean, my experience is you have to have people on staff there medically that in order to be able to build Medicare, Medicaid insurance, you can't source it out.
Yes, I did. I had nurses, RNs, LPNs, and I had a doctor at my facility who was the administrator over that worked for me. I had those people in place that was licensed to do what they do.
So what'd you do wrong then?
Sir, to what I know is that basically my charge was they charged me as a conspirator to my wife. And from the records, even if I'd known or didn't know what was being done within my business as far as the billing and whatever, I would be liable and held responsible because I'm the owner. And
That's
I
a
own
fact.
up to that.
That's right.
I own up to that because they work for me and I'm responsible for whatever they do. It still falls on me,
And you weren't aware of what was going on.
I wasn't aware until all of this transpired and came about, in court when I began to discover these things as we were going through the process of the trial and whatever. No, I didn't know, honestly.
You weren't checking monthly statements, checking your money, checking how many patients were reported seen, all those things as a business owner. You weren't checking that?
I was checking that along with my wife, who was a registered nurse, and I was going through those things, but I couldn't determine or to see whether something, as far as the notes that they were putting together as nurses, was out of line to or in compliance with what they should be billing under the Medicaid codes. Because I myself didn't actually know that, only my biller knew and the nurses.
Just moving forward, you'll get out at some point. Moving forward as a business owner, those are probably things, if you're gonna have a business, probably things you ought to know, right?
True that.
Just moving forward. You're probably gonna do something, you're a young man, but you might, those are things you might ought to, be well versed in if you're gonna start a business. You probably need to know. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bouton,
Sir.
we're here for Ms. Bouton now.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Herlima Newton. I want to thank you all for allowing me this opportunity to speak on Mr. Dudley's behalf. First of all, let me say that he has mentored many young men throughout our community whose lives have changed because of his motivation and encouragement. They have not only went back to school, they've opened their own business. They finished high school and college. Also, there are a lot of men and women who are under his leadership. As myself, I am one of them. Teaching and preaching God's word. Still today and every day, Pastor Dudley has encouraged me to believe in myself. I have a business now. Through him helping me, I help individuals with a disability find employment in the state of Texas. And my business is well established. With him mentoring me through the phones in jail, letting me know this is good or not. He's helped me along the way, and I thank him for that. And I would like, on behalf of True Divine Ministry, we're asking that you find in your hearts and grant our pastor parole. Please don't base your decisions on his past, because he came a long way. And we will support him once he's released. Thank you for all your considerations, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, would you like to make a statement on your behalf, Mr. Dudley?
Yes, sir. Ms. Renowski, and to you, sir, on the panel. I made some foolish mistakes and some choices in my past. I've had 18 years to reflect on that. And not to go backwards, but to go forward. And I've learned a lot through these 18 years and over these 18 years about myself. And I'm determined to be better, to do better, and to go out into society, hopefully, if you allow me that opportunity, to be a better citizen. I've looked at the errors of my ways or the choices, the decisions I made. And as I often would tell younger people, if you never change the way you think, you'll never change the way you live, and nothing about you will change. And before you can change your behavior, you got to change your way of thinking and the choices that you make. And I myself, I have made those mistakes. And I regret the fact that my family and my child and my children have become victims of my circumstances. And the absence of me being out of my daughter's life, my youngest girl, since the day she was born. And she's been to graduate in May. And I pray to God that if you can find it in your heart to allow me to be there for my child, who I've not seen physically nor held in my arms, to be there to support her and encourage her and see that she can be successful and go to college like my other children's and earn some type of degree. I understand the fact too that I'm a 63-year-old man, I'm not getting any younger. And to make foolish choices and decisions like I had in the past, I don't think I would do so. To do so, I couldn't even see the change in myself yet to encourage somebody else and to motivate them to do the right thing when I'm not setting a good example of that. I admit that I made mistakes. I'm remorseful for the mistakes or the choices I made at that time. And I just have a better outlook on things now. And I appreciate you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you for your comment.
I'm in for executive
We
session.
got a motion for executive session.
Second.
Second, roll call, please. Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Ready? The panel prepared to vote.
Yeah.
Ms. Renatza?
Ms. Dudley,
Yes.
yours is a difficult case because you come across, you're a very smart man, haven't really admitted to us your culpability in what you did. I would like to see it Unfortunately, there's a lack of programs regarding your problem, the money management issue. But also, I don't see where you've taken a victim awareness class. It's not in your record. And you have multiple things, including the state. You have strong law enforcement opposition, strong opposition, prosecutor's office. So my vote today, going to be to deny. I would ask if the warden could facilitate you getting into a victim awareness program and reapply for another hearing at such time that you're eligible to do so. You completed that.
Mr. Roche?
Mr. Dudley, my vote is the same reason, and also that you serve less than 30% of the judge's sentence.
You have 2 votes to deny your parole. I'm also going to vote to deny your parole for the same reasons the state would like for you to take victim awareness and the job life skills. I think the warden talked about. If you can get those taken care of next time you're in front of me, it'd be a different outcome for me. But I think you need those 2, and you're right on the cusp there. But you really, you need to again own up. But you have some victim awareness and understand what's happening here. But those 2 classes, and I think again, come reapply and come in front of me, it'll be a different outcome. But for today, for me, it's the deny. The 3 votes today, you're parole.
Can I ask you one question before you leave?
What's that?
You say that I need these programs. If I was to take these programs, do I have to wait an entire year, 6 months or whatever before I can come back?
We don't keep up with when you can reapply and apply. Get with your warden and get with them in classification, and they can figure that out. So you go ahead and take those 2 classes. And I think they're going to be, probably several months apiece anyway. So I don't know what your crime, if you can reapply in 6 months or 4 months or 8 months or 10 months or 2 years, but they can figure it out. So 3 votes to deny today. Your parole's been denied. Good luck to you.